Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
For live.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
This live
Are you
talk.
ready?
Live
Are you
talk.
ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Live talk.
For the word of the day, the knowledge and the wisdom will increase your faith. Are you ready? For live talk,
Yeah.
because it's about time to set it off. Are you ready?
Let's go.
For the word of the day, the knowledge and the wisdom will increase your faith. Are you ready? For live talk,
Yeah.
because it's about time to set it off.
Live talk. This live talk. Live talk. Living in vital energy. The universal language spirituality. Living in vital energy. The universal language spirituality. We're going all the way live with it. With live talk, increase your mentality, put away carnality and increase your spirituality. Let's go. Live talk.
Are you ready?
This live talk.
Are you ready?
Live talk.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Live talk.
For the word of the day, the knowledge and the wisdom will increase your faith. Are you ready? For live talk, because it's about time to set it off.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Prince Yirmiyahu, and today I will be your host for Live Talk, the Youth Edition. And today I have my brothers with me here, my brother Shumael and my brother Samuel. Honorable mentions, I have my brother Jeremiah in the back, which is engineering. And now for a rundown of today. Shortly, we'll have our word of the day. After our word of the day, we'll have our main topic. After our main topic, we'll have a short break. After our break, we'll have a quote, and after our quote, we'll end it with a closing. So, with no further ado, let's move on to the word of the day. The word of the day is accused, which means to formally charge with a crime, or when someone is officially charged with a crime by a police officer, grand jury, and prosecutor. The person is referred to as the accused. And now, to spiritualize this, the real reality of this world is that the accused might not have always committed a crime. And to show you, Revelations 12:10 says, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night." So, as we can see, you can be accused by anyone, but as long as you keep faith in the Most High, it may take time, but eventually you'll be proved not guilty, and the person at fault which falsely accused you will be cast away. And that's it for the word of the day.
Hey.
And now for our main topic. So the main topic of today is, what are some epidemics among teens? My first question is, what is mental health? Mental health is our physical, psychological, emotional, and social well-being. It's something that affects how we feel, think, and act. And to expand more on this, how do teens handle mental health? And I say teens kind of handle mental health in a bad way, because there are teens that don't know how to control their mental health. They don't know what their mental health is. They do a lot of dumb things considering their age, and a lot of them like to hop on to like a lot of stupid trends. Like, they basically don't have a developed mindset yet, or they don't have a right mindset, because due to their maybe depression or due to what their friends are doing, they may be caught up and they may do wicked things or horrible things that can ruin their life. And it's just things that no one's there for them to teach them. Would you brothers like to expand a little more?
Yeah, I would, because I think we had a conversation about they do have some mental health classes in school. Now, do you know, do they teach it in a class, or do they actually have mental health professionals at the schools now, or is it just like a class?
Really, what they do is, it's basically like a class. They send links to the individual teachers, and the teachers, they basically go over it. And one of my teachers, even he was like, "Oh, well, if you ever need any help, you can come up to me. We can talk some things over. You never want to make bad decisions. At least communicate with people. Don't act on your own. Out of your own accord."
But that's a good start. Because I know the thing I like to reflect on is that mental health has been a real stigma in our community, because we were the kind we were taught we didn't need mental health, or that's for crazy people. and we look at it other than what it is, which is mental health. And then it causes people, it becomes worse. Like if somebody's having an issue, then that issue can turn to depression. Then that depression can turn to them having suicidal thoughts. They can turn to them harming themselves or harming someone else, because they simply didn't have someone to talk to about a situation. And oftentimes that can be the cure. Yet if you don't have that outlet, like you say, teens can go do something stupid, like following their peers, doing something that they shouldn't do, and then they wind up being accused, all because they had a mental health issue that they could have been simply addressed, but didn't get it addressed.
Yes, sir.
Most definitely. That's very powerful, Minister. This is a really great subject. I'm glad to be a part of that. Prince Jeremiah, kudos to you for stepping up. And it's also a touchy subject. I can speak from experience of being accused as a kid, of having ADHD, and autism, and all these different things. But I think that kids, for the most part, not just kids, because it's not even just this generation. You know what I'm saying? Even in my generation, and those are a little bit above and a little bit under, have been in a state. That's going to the word mental. Mental means a state of being, and that state means a condition. And in that condition, we have been conditioned. As you were just saying, we was taught to, we're not supposed to cry. We're not supposed to, talk about our, you know what I mean? So that's a conditioning here. So when you have someone that has a lot of thoughts going on at one time, and he is being told to hold it in, it becomes like it progresses. After a while, I just can't hold it in, and I start letting them out in a way that I only know from what I see. That conditioning of my environment is through anger and aggression. Yeah. So we need people, not just, that's a great thing that they're doing in the school, but it has to be in the home. But the only way it can be in the home is that the parent, the uncle, the brother, the sister, they have to condition their mind now to change from what they knew growing up. You know what I mean? It's a different time. It's a different era. Things evolve. All things change, but yet they remain the same. Mm-hmm. And I believe that, just from experience, I was blessed to have a few people to come in my life, people such as yourself, Brother Jeremiah, to help me and to guide me in certain situations with my mental health. I still battle different thoughts even now today as a grown up. You know what I mean? That's that Satan that's ruling, that's accusing me in my mind. Well, you're not too big for me. You want to fight?
Still there.
So yeah, and we have to realize that we didn't just get here overnight. it's been a conditioning for our people. So we have to just take those reins and recondition ourselves, reprogram our minds, and just fight that fight. It's an ongoing battle.
Yeah.
I love this topic when it comes to just mental health and youth. I just really hope that some of the young people that are chimed in definitely jump in on this conversation so that we can dive deep, especially when compared to and Jeremiah, you're the youth, right? You're the most youthful one in the building. So you let me know if I'm on the right path when it comes to mental health as it affects young people today. It starts with, it seems like, especially with younger folks, the younger audience, social pressure, right? You guys want to be accepted among your peers. You suffer from the pressure of wanting to be liked by people. And a lot of times it seems like young people lose who they are because of dealing with acceptance. Another age where I have noticed young people suffer the most from depression and anxiety. And this is mainly just seeing it not just with my own child, but with nieces and nephews, the expectations that you all feel that, and I don't know if it's society that puts it on you or if you are partially putting it on yourself. It seems like there's this expectation that you're going to finish high school and your first year out, you're going to be successful. You're going to, make all this money, and you find out, no, none of that's true. It's hard work. You're going to be broke. Society teaches the youth that, the second you turn 18, bam, get out the house. You're on your own. And a lot of you all suffer from that because you're trying to now not only work, but pay bills. You're trying to figure out if you're going to go to college, and if you are in college, what degree you're going to pursue. You're dealing with a lot of social pressure.
I agree.
And that can definitely affect someone's mental health. That is challenging.
If I would like to chime in a bit right there, I would say in my L.I.V.E class, they teach us a lot about organization, time management skills, and putting a plan. They stress that a lot. Putting a plan out there is one of the best ways to navigate your life, really. Because I was putting plans out there for a while, and on one day I planned to do all my schoolwork and then go outside and hang, and I followed along with that plan, and I put a timeline on it, like a time limit from this time to this time. So I did all my work, and then I went outside, and it's like that plan really helped me focus on what I was going to do.
So like a solution to that.
Yeah, to deal with that mental.
Yeah.
Right, even your social groups, your friends, people you hang around could take a big part in that as well. You hanging with the wrong crowd is not helping your mental state. You need to find the right group of friends, the right family. Because family can be toxic too. So it's just find who fits for you and who's in the same boat you're in.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that.
That's it.
They totally agree with that, because that's where the pressure come in at when you're squad trying to fit in a round hole,
Yeah, but and then I like the caller that came on talking about when you leave high school, as a young person, there are a lot of challenges that you have to deal with, and it can cause a little depression. And now you have to figure out life. So you're looking at things from, anxiety, personal disorder, it's a lot of things that can occur from, that if you don't have certain plans in place and able to follow through. And sometimes when you have plans in place, it can be difficult. It's challenges behind that, but you have to know how to navigate, like you're saying, navigate through a lot of those, or just try to figure out like how can you navigate? Remember, this is a whole nother thing. It's like this is a whole nother, like I don't have mama and daddy no more like that. So how do I deal with this here? Now you may reach out to friends, but they may not be the best examples, right? Mm-hmm. They may give you some drugs. I know you're probably going to get to that point.
Solution is
we'll take this here and then you're going to feel better. So I'll turn it back over to you, young Prince.
Yeah, the next thing you know, you're under a bridge somewhere.
There's a lot of that going around too.
Now on to one of my next questions is how easily do teens have access to drugs and drinks, alcohol? And they have it easily, like really simply easy. Like I'm talking like Snapchat, you download Snapchat. There's a whole lot of weed plugs. Like at my school, there's one kid, he was selling like, the nerds.
The candy?
Yeah, the candy.
Nerd candy.
I got grandkids. I don't see the nerds. That's candy.
So they had the nerds like on the road, like it's like a candy road, and they had the nerds all around it. But the thing is, it was cannabis infused, like marijuana inside of it. And the kid was selling that at my school. He had a whole pack of it, selling it for $25 each. And he had like a whole box. Next thing you know, he puts it again. The whole box is like gone. He's like, he only had like 2 left. He was selling 30. He only has 2 left. That's how much people bought from him. And that's how easy it is to get it, really.
Okay, now slow down. See, you have to explain it to us. It's just that easy in school. And he posted on Snapchat now. Help us understand. Did they get that out of school or could they get it in school?
I believe they most likely got it out of school. But it depends because he was later then caught by the police.
Okay.
And it may have been in school or out of school, but all I know is that he was.
But even if it wasn't in school, it was easily for them to access this out of school. It's not like they had to travel or go nowhere or do no secret clandestine. Just get with him and get what looks to be a pack of candy.
Mm-hmm.
So if they brought that back home, it would look like Nerds candy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not.
Yeah.
And that's one of the bad things that influence today's youth, social media, because it has its great points, as the young Prince spoke on what that was the previous show, the good and bad about social media.
Mm-hmm.
I was with my daughter and she was showing me what platforms that I think Instagram or one of those, Snapchat or Instagram, one of them. And, it's like people is advertising, all these illicit drugs, right? And you can just, like hit them up. And I'm like, wow, it's stupid. You know what I mean? Because I'm quite sure you don't have no secret code passwords and, all the CIA type security in place. That's why a lot of them end up going to jail. But it's like, it just made me think, like back in the days, I can remember when we used to have to sneak and get cigarettes. I got to stand out the stove for about 2 hours. Hey man, you gonna buy me a pack of cigarettes? Hey man, you gonna buy me a pack of cigarettes? And now they just scroll. So, and that goes back to, that circle, having that right circle and the right people around to monitor, and parents, and not just parents, brothers and cousins need not to be afraid of monitoring. Again, we got to get away from that conditioning that we've been in, and learn that, hey, it's each one reach one to teach one. Mm-hmm. That's just, but yeah, that's crazy. Nerds.
It's that easy to access.
Been very creative.
So just like going to the candy store. Because you're saying it's not difficult to get.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to get. So if someone's having a mental issue, it's easy for them to go get an escape in that. That's not going to fix it, but it's easy for them to get access to it.
Mm-hmm. And that's the sad thing is that, that again, going back to that conditioning, don't deal with it. Just run away from it.
Mm-hmm.
You've been shot with a gunshot. I like to use this illustration. You've been shot with a gunshot. You're going to go to the hospital, right? You're not going to put a Band-Aid on it. It's the same thing when you're using these drugs. You know, you need to go and speak with somebody. You need to go and really like open up to someone you know that can trust. We all know who we can talk to and who we can't. Because soon as you leave from that person you can't talk to, but that person you know you can talk to, they're the ones you don't want to go around. Because you're not looking for healing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, it's like the one caller was saying, appreciate her chiming in. Don't worry about being accepted to a bunch of, I'm just going to say it, nobodies. You know, they live in a fantasy. You know, they're trying to live like what the media is portraying, which is to keep you on a lower level. You know, these pharmaceutical companies is making millions of dollars out your pocket.
Yeah.
You know, so they don't want you to get better. No. They just gonna come up with a new design of drug. You know, it's just gonna evolve and advance. You know, stay dumb. You know, stay dumb.
Dumb them down.
So, you know, it has to be a reprogramming and monitoring. You know, like she was saying, don't worry about being accepted, because some of the greatest people I have met, some of the greatest people that we know that have lived in our on this planet, they wasn't accepted because of the way they thought. Their ideas were so far out the normal range that the average person can't catch it. You know what I mean? If you're one of those people, be yourself. You know, because the people that are for you are going to be for you no matter what you at, what you got on. That's how you know the real from the fake. But unfortunately, you know, it's sad that they want to live like in that fantasy world, you know?
Yes, sir. Also, like,
and that question is still out there for the audience. If you want to chime in on that question, how easy do teens have access to drugs and alcohol? If we do have some youth, some teachers that may be out there that know how easy it is for drugs to get into the school system, feel free to unmute yourself. You can just unmute yourself if you're on the app. You calling in *6. So back over to you, sir.
Well, I got a question too, Prince.
Well, excuse me. Quick. Oh, I'm not sure. Can you guys hear me, or am I?
Yes, you good. We can hear you, sister.
I wanted to share because I have one here that is being shy for whatever reason and jumping in. But I remember having this discussion distinctively as they shared with me how to get access to weed, and just shared with me, hey, everybody smokes. I still remember that being the statement, like, you would be surprised to find out who smokes. But the issue with this conversation is I'm having that with my middle schooler. Literally, I'm having this conversation with the middle schooler. And that's where it can be dangerous, because what a lot of people don't realize is that marijuana can be a gateway drug. Just like smoking cigarettes too young can be a gateway drug. And studies show that if you start off taking any type of drug, even alcohol, your chances of battling and dealing with substance abuse is triple. Yes, I still remember a young man that lived, 2-3 doors down. He was in the 7th grade. I was dropping my son off to school, watching him get arrested. Why? Because he got caught selling weed on campus. And I think someone else was going to chime in. Please share.
That was part of the thing, what you do at the colleges said, and I wanted to kick that back over to Prince, because I know you're in the high school level. But when we talking about nerds, that means this can be before high school. So students can get this. Could they get this in middle school? It will be as easy for them to get it in middle school then as it was before high school, based on what you're saying.
Well, you want to chime in? Go right ahead.
I was saying, like, it is easy for kids to gain access to drugs because they think it's fun. And okay, fun is good, but when you're having too much fun is when you become an addict and you don't know when to stop or how to stop, because you need that more support. And it's like you need, again, the right people in your circle to help you overcome what you're going through. And if you don't have the right people around you, it's not going to happen. You're just going to stay in your ways, and I'm pretty sure you don't want to do that.
So more fun that kids get involved in it than anything, apparently. And it makes sense. You see your friend doing something and they laughing and, whatever, smoking, smoke coming out their mouth, all different type of ways, then you may think it's cool. Let me try that too. And it becomes a thing that you come together, and this just the logic behind it. It becomes a thing you get together now. Oh, you're doing it, but you don't know what it's doing to you, and that's what the other caller was saying, like, it's a gateway to other things. Now it becomes substance abuse. You got a substance abuse disorder. So yeah, that makes plenty of sense.
and that gets, some light needs to get shed on the music, the culture. Because it's like you can't listen to a major artist right now without hearing drugs. That's again, it's a conditioning. So when they hear this and they see these flashing lights and all this stuff right here, they like, oh wow. I was listening to a song the other day, and the guy was like, I wake up in the morning and I go to the moon. And he say he never come back. Now you say he's an alien, right? And it's like, man, but when you see him like on some behind the scenes type tip, because what the people don't realize that they are selling a product. They are selling an image. You know what I mean? And it's not real. So now some of those guys are, on that. But for the most part, it's just an image. When you see these people, man, you cannot be successful in life if you're always high on some drugs. It's not true. It's not, you know what I mean? But, that monitoring, like the one sister was saying, with the friends, that's very important, and people have to just know that, hey, we have to start. Like what I like to do when I was with my daughter, with my grandkids, whatever, even if I'm with some friends or whatnot, if we watching a movie or TV, I know that everything that is placed on this television, on this screen, has a meaning. I know this. There's nothing just cause. You know what I'm saying? They flashing light at a particular time to coincide with this particular color for a reason, because it's chemicals in our brains. And these lights, can activate certain thoughts. That's why you'll get a euphoria. You will see certain things. You'll be like, oh, wow, he just, but I will always show them or teach and speak with them. Hey, look, you see this right here? Man, that means da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? I try to use everything as a teaching moment. You know what I mean? To make people aware of what you're seeing and to go into that conversation about what she was saying, about being in that circle. That's how you can create a good, positive circle. You know what I mean? By having those moments to, well, okay, it's okay to listen to this type of music, but understand that it's not real. You know what I'm saying? Us as parents or elders or grandparents or whatever, we need to, let them know these things. When we're sitting down watching a movie, yeah, it's entertainment. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, well, I don't want to go too far in that, but.
Okay. I like that. My next question is, why is it bad for teens to access these drugs and alcohol? And I would like to the first point I would like to hit on is how I saw when I was reading an article, it said drinking as a teen could lead to lifelong brain damage. And one of the examples I saw was my god brother, his name is Yokanon. He showed me a GoFundMe of one of his friends, like brain dead, like partially blind, like he looked like, he was out of it. And he was in a wheelchair, and they were trying to raise money to get him out of that state. But he got out of that state, but all it took him was like one Xan. He popped one Xan and out. So
yeah, that's one bad thing, definitely. I think education is very important when it comes to drugs. I think, and I believe you're going to get to the next question that's on there. And I don't want to get into your next question, but when it comes to, and you said why is it bad for teens to have access to drugs? Like one of the points is, the whole thing that we're talking about right now, the mental disorder, the challenges that we deal with in life, and then making drugs like an scapegoat, and instead of facing whatever challenges that you need to face, that's a part of life. And and you haven't experienced it or haven't been through that, it's difficult for you to even, consider going through that when you all have always been sheltered, So, drugs, when it comes to drugs, and I know we've been kind of talking about this, and I don't want to be redundant in what we may have already said, but there's a lot of challenges that one can deal with when it comes to drugs because, like Sis was saying, it can be a gateway to other things, and then now you get into a relationship, and now you're being abusive to your wife, or being abusive to your girlfriend, or now you're mismanaging money. So it's a lot of different things that are reasons why we shouldn't, youth shouldn't be doing drugs. Nobody really shouldn't be doing drugs, but it starts at a very young age. And that's definitely one of the reasons, because what it can result in the long run.
And to bounce back at that, one more thing I saw, it was down in New York where kids, they had access to weed, but the weed dealers, what they did, they put some type of I think they call it M30. They put M30, they sprinkle it in their weed, give it to the kids, and what they thought it was supposed to do was want to put the kids addicted to it, hooked on it, to where the point they can keep coming back to it and keep coming back. But what it did to those kids, it killed a lot of kids at that school. I believe around 10 students down in New York, they died because someone because they want to take drugs.
And I'm gonna tag in with that one because the problem with teens is, and I think you mentioned it, mentally, their brain is still developing. So while it's developing, a chemical reaction can have a very bad effect on teens. And let's say if you got 10 teens and some of them are doing it purely for recreation, just to have fun, but that peer pressure, the mental that you want to fit in, so now you're doing it to fit in. So if 10 of them are doing it, 5 of them might not have a mental issue. But what about the 5 that have a mental issue? And even the 5 that don't have it, it could affect them differently than it could be one that didn't. But if you have a mental issue that you're dealing with, a mental health issue, and now you're doing a drug whereas someone else might be doing it for recreational purpose, you're doing it as a coping mechanism for your mental health. Mm-hmm. But when the drug goes away, the mental health issue still remains. And what happens is, especially with youth, if you get doing it conditioned, the trap with drugs, the marijuana, oh my God, they got so many of them out. I'm not going to try to name, but that's just one. But it's tons of drugs that children have access to. And what happens is, in the beginning, you're doing it because it makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. But the trick is, after a while, you now do it because you don't want to feel bad.
Right.
So you need the drugs so you don't want to feel bad. And it may not be for all, but for some, it can lead to stronger drugs because the weed might not be strong enough because they're not dealing with this mental issue. It's just getting worse. Yeah. So now you go to a stronger drug to try to deal with what should have been dealt with in the beginning, but you're using drugs in place for the mental help.
Yeah.
And
Caller.
what the caller was just saying.
Caller with your line unmuted. You want to chime in on that?
Yes, praise Yahweh. This is Amon Yisrael calling in from Riviera Beach, Florida, and I'm really enjoying the topic. One of the things that I do up in Palm Beach County is mentor children. And we initially started out an organization called Fathers Forever. We started in the in the elementary school. And what we found in the elementary school, that students that were in the third grade were already using marijuana because their big brother in middle school and their big brother in high school introduced them to it. One of the shocking things we found out is that third graders was having also full sex.
Wow.
Third graders,
Wow.
girls,
Unbelievable.
not playing like they're having sex, because I question them. And when I finished questioning them, I was more than convinced that they were having full sex. But when we do not teach our children about themselves, and when I say about themselves, I'm talking about their innate nature that God sent that they have within themselves, this society will teach them not to lack that God intrinsic nature and to rebel against that nature. And it has all kinds of psychological effects. Some students, and this is a big topic in the public school system up here, but some things they try to hide, but when you kind of get to know some of the counselors, when you have a third grader that's having full sex, that's smoking marijuana, they don't have a clue of what they're doing. Now you have almost destroyed the ability for them to become conscious of their true self, the God self that's in them, because they have learned how to depend on these other feelings. And I remember we was taught in some classes some years ago, when a person is using drugs, that they're really in search for their creator. And this society put those things in place to block them from getting to their creator. So when they learn to love it, and then you throw that on top of with the peer pressure, the television, the topics, because this society is telling the children anything you want to do is all right. So I'll stop right there. But thank you so much for this topic. Is a very serious topic. And let me just say this. This is what one of the counselors said. When they start rebelling against themselves, then their system, I can't think of the name, but she gave me a name. Their system, I'm going to say that for lack of the name that I want to use, their system begins to become out of whack. And then they have mental problems. That's not correct. And if these mental problems go so far, it's almost impossible to redeem them. So it's imperative that organizations like ourselves, and well, I don't know too many like ourselves, because the organizations that are out there now are basically supporting these systems that teach them and instruct them that it's all right to do whatever you want to do. And thank you so much for letting me speak.
Thank you for chiming in.
Yeah, thank you for chiming in.
Appreciate it. Now, on to My next question: how could parents help? Well, I'll start with there's a lot of parents can help with a lot of kids.
Can we just go back just a bit? How you mentioned
third grade.
I can't get past that.
Yeah, no, that's hard.
Third grade.
Third grade. Oh my goodness. I don't care. I mean, third grade. That's crazy.
If a third grader is using drugs, and in this case, he mentioned having sex, you know there's something mentally wrong.
And just
there's
think about it
somewhere.
Think about the growth of that person. It's only going to get worse.
Right. and you know, I can share from experience, you know, because I you know, started drinking and smoking, being introduced by my older brother, you know, at the age of like third grade, 9, you know, 10 years old. You know, they'll be hanging out in front of our mom's apartment, and, you know, I want to be out there too, you know, but my path to be out there, just put me some ice in this cup and pour that drinking up, you know. Then after a while, it's like, man, look like they having fun after doing that so much. I don't you know. But yeah, then you go out there and you be like, hey, sit right down now. You got to chill. You know what I mean? But I understand that, and that comes from the lack of knowledge. You know, the holy word of Yahweh teaches us that our people are destroyed from a lack of knowledge. And that's part of that destruction. You know, we're tearing each other down. There is nowhere in the world I should be given a substance to alter my already inferior mind. You know what I'm saying? Because not all this flash and flame that I see, it becomes real. And that's what I'm going to chase. I'm going to chase the fantasy. Now my fantasy becomes reality. You know what I'm saying? And like the brother was saying, it's almost impossible to snap up out of that. You know, because I know over the years, he ended up changing his life. I kept going.
See,
full throttle, you know, and ended up in places I didn't want to be, you know. And so, yeah. I guess that goes now to your question, though. Your next question on there.
How could parents help? And a lot of parents can help first by really having that one-on-one talk with their kids, and just by having, you know, their selves in check, because if they don't have themselves together, then they can't have their kids, like their kids not going to be together and their family going to fall apart. So first, they definitely should, you know, have enough knowledge on how to raise a kid, how to deal with mental health. So when they get to that point, they can teach their kids how to control their mental health. So their kids don't have anything, you know, like anything like messed up in the head, or taking drugs, or having sex at a young age, because they don't know right from wrong. I mean, the only thing that basically raised them was their friends and social media. And social media also is a bad
influence.
A bad influence on kids, because like I've seen a lot of people on social media where I went through some comment sections and like it was just no brainer. Like,
well, it's almost like social media became the parent, you know, and whatever social media say, you know, it supersedes anything the parent may say.
True or
false?
Yeah,
regardless, because it's like, well, you know, and many times when you having those conversations with your children, you know, yes, they're hearing it, but they're not listening to a degree that they can really get an understanding from it, because the next thing they're going to go to either friends or social media to confirm what was being said. So if social media doing something totally different, that old person over there don't know what they're talking about. They doing this out here now, you know, so that's what I need to be a part of. But we're going to have to go to a quick break, and then we're going to have to come right back and probably get ready to wrap up. So we're going to go to a quick break.
Scott and Associates accounting firm, you can get your taxes done in or outside of the office by an experienced tax professional. To schedule your appointment, give us a call today at 321-754-1360. The number again is 321-754-1360. Or schedule your appointment online at www.countonscott.com.
Hey, this is Jeremiah Israel here, author and host of Live Talk. Just to ask you a question. Have you purchased a new book, The Spiritual Significance of a Name? If not, why not? The Spiritual Significance of a Name is a book that can really put you on a journey to defining who you are. Have you ever searched for your purpose or wondered about your purpose? Have you ever considered or thought about the names that you may name your children, or even the name that you may have? These are all powerful thoughts that comes across your mind, and it's all given to you through the Most High, because He put us on this earth with a purpose, and you can define your purpose within your name. Pick up the book today. Go to www.yeremiahisrael.com. That's www.yeremiahisrael.com and purchase the book. Website at yeremiahisrael.com. Purchase the book so you can be on your journey to defining your true purpose.
All right. And now for our quote of today, which is, create a life that feels good on the inside and not one that looks good on the outside.
I like that. Can you repeat that, please?
I'll repeat it again. Create a life that feels good on the inside, not one that looks good on the outside.
Mm-hmm. Gotta be confident in yourself.
Yes, sir. But it's like saying anything.
Oh, that's having good mental health. That quote is perfect. See, your mental health and stability is fine. If you do just the outside, your mental health is going to go down. You're probably going to start looking for these drugs to compensate.
And I know one of the things that worked for me, because I had a lot of thoughts in my head, and sometimes I talk to myself and answer myself, but I found what worked for me was music, to keep me focused, because I did daydream a lot. So if I had something that'll take a part of that little piece of mind for a moment to help me get back, and it was music. So I do some studying and I listen to a little music in the background. You got to find out what works for you and try different things, and like the brother just saying, create something on the inside that feels good.
Mm-hmm. And I remember when my parents were talking about, I think they're talking about a little bit about their clients, on how their clients some of their clients will have like expensive cars, expensive accessories and stuff, but have like nothing in their bank account at all. And it's like, they're just creating a life where they look good on the outside, but is everything good on the inside? But that's basically it for our quote of today. And I hope you enjoyed this whole session on the Live Talk Youth Edition. Anybody want to say anything before I close out?
We talking mental health, parents, adults, those of us who are responsible. We have to talk to our youth. More importantly, listen. And if they having an issue, the best way to help with the issue is to listen to the issue. Because if you don't listen, they're going to go get help from somewhere, and you might not like the help they get.
Yes, sir.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
I agree. Open the ear. Lend the ear. Because we have to understand it. That's why we're even having this conversation that today, and speaking to the youth, it gives us a better understanding of what youth may go through, and if you're dealing in the community like we do, we can better understand how to deal with the youth, considering some of the obstacles or the concerns that they may have or whatever they may be dealing with. So a great show to open up and speak about this.
Yes, sir.
Quickly, I think that, we have to take drastic measures because it's been too long. So, and you have to be willing to fight that fight because it's not going to be easy. And, we've been conditioned to give up easily. So, you got to just take those drastic measures to make those changes, both parent and child, families as a whole.
To stay connected to us, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Live Talk Orlando. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Live Talk Orlando. You want to come on to the show? Join us on the show? You'd like for us to interview you? Then email us at livetalkorl@gmail.com. You can also follow the host on Facebook at Define Your Purpose 2021, on Instagram at Jeremiah Israel, and you can visit the website www.jeremiahisrael.com. Make sure you pick up a copy of The Spiritual Significance of a Name.
Visit our Facebook page, YouTube, subscribe, like, etc. We love you. And from Live Talk, we're out.
Peace.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
For live.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
This live.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Live talk.
For the word of the day, the knowledge and the wisdom will increase your faith. Are you ready for live talk?
Yeah.
Because it's about time to set it on. Are you ready?
Let's go.
For the word of the day, the knowledge and the wisdom will increase your faith. Are you ready for live talk?
Yeah.
Because it's about time to set it off.
Live talk. This live talk. Live talk. Living in vital energy. The universal language spirituality. Living in vital energy. The universal language spirituality. We're going all the way live with it. With live talk, increase your mentality, put away carnality, and increase your spirituality. Let's go. Live talk.
Are you ready?
This live talk.
Are you ready?
Live talk.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Live talk.
For the word of the day, the knowledge and the wisdom will increase your faith. Are you ready for live talk? Because it's about time to set it off.